This is part one of why the get married at 20.
Hey beautiful people, how you are doing today? It's a girl Destiny here and welcome to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So today's video it's a story time and I know you guys love story time here on this channel. And me too, honestly, I love it. And this is a blind reaction story time and I'm super excited. So this story time is a story time of a young lady who came to tell the story of how the F did she get married at 20. So this lady got married at the age of 20 and I think her boyfriend at that time too was at the same age. She went on to share the story of how she met her boyfriend for the first time when she was 5 years old and she has always crushed on him, and eventually they grew up, they went to the same high school, and then eventually they were able to meet somewhere and they started dating anyway at the age of 17, if I'm not mistaken. And then at the age of 20, they find out that her mom cancer was back and her mom was not going to be able to do treatment anymore. And the mom made the joke of if the boyfriend will marry her before she died. And the way things are playing out in this story so far, okay, because I've watched the parts now, the way it's playing out is just like, okay, okay, let me know down in the comment section. Will you get married to someone because that's the dying wish of someone? And the way she tells the story, I feel like it's very remarkable because she actually tells like there's a lot of backstory that goes into the story. So yeah, let's go share this story out and then we'll come back and talk more.
This is part one of why the did I get married at 20. So it all starts when I was 5 years old and I had a very innocent crush on another kid in my class. And when you're five, you're not thinking about marriage. But little did I know that this crush that I had at 5 years old was gonna be my future husband. We'll get to that later. So in primary school, we went to a Catholic primary school, which meant we did morning prayers and read from the Bible every day. And it was considered a really cool thing to be the person who read the Bible that day. And the only way that you get chosen to read the Bible on that day is if the person prior chooses you to read the Bible. And so my little 5-year-old brain is thinking, how do I get this kid to notice me and notice that I'm flirting with him? At the age of 5, I was already trying to figure out how I can get this boy to notice me. And every time I got that Bible, I made sure that I always chose him to be the next person to get that Bible. And every single time, he never realized, which makes sense. He was a 5-year-old boy. Anyway, we went through primary school together and then we ended up at the same high school, which made sense because our parents wanted to send us to a Catholic high school and there was only one in our city. So we naturally ended up at the same high school. We knew each other. It was a small school, so we passed each other in the hallways and whatnot, but nothing really crazy ever happened. And at the age of 16, I decided that I was gonna drop out of high school because I hated it so much. I was thinking, if I hate this much, I might as well go and just make money and work full time. So I dropped out of high school and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna see these people ever again. Thank God. But when I was 17, I got invited to some random party. And typically I was not a party goer back then because my parents would never allow me to go to things like that. But on that particular weekend, my parents were out of the country. And so I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna go to this party and not tell them. How are they gonna know? They're out of the damn country. So I went to the party and the first person that I realized was at this party was my primary school crush. And I got a few drinks in me and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna use liquid courage to then go and shoot my shot. And so I spent the whole night shooting my shot and flirting with him, essentially. And the whole time that I was doing so, he was offering me to another guy and wingmanning him because his friend said that he had his eyes out on me. So the whole time that I'm blatantly trying to get with my crush is trying to palm me off to another guy. And that's its own story. We still had a really good night. Such a good night that my parents found out that I was at this party. And so they're furiously texting me and furiously calling me, and I'm not picking up because I'm just shitting myself that they found out, and I'm intoxicated, so I can't go home. I brought my own car. There's no way home. And also I'm having the time of my life with the guy that I've literally admired from afar for my entire life. So how do I figure out to stay? I need to figure out a way to stay. So we come up with a plan to find the oldest looking person at the party and dress them up as a grown-up. So we managed to find someone who's like, I don't know, 18, 19 years old. They're not old at all. And we decide, yo, you're gonna go find a button-up shirt in one of the closets in this house and chuck it on, and then we're gonna pretend that you're a grown-up supervising the party and take a snap and send it to my parents. So we find a button-up shirt, we put this guy in this button-up shirt, and we snap the pic, and then I send it to my parents, and we're like, yeah, we're so freaking smart, like, they're not gonna see through this one, like, he looks so old. And thinking about it now, I don't know why we thought that that was going to pass, but it did. And my parents like, oh, great, there's an adult supervising, you can stay the night, have a good night, call us in the morning. And so I spent the rest of the night having the time of my life with my crush. We're obviously drunk. I don't know what's really truly happening, but we end up sleeping in the same bed and nothing crazy happened. But I woke up and he was no longer in the bed with me. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I probably said something really stupid. Did I screw something up? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what did I do? Backtrack. I couldn't backtrack to anything, but I decided, you know what? I'm gonna calm down. It's okay. If I don't see this guy again, it doesn't matter. We don't even go to the same school anymore. I've dropped out. I'm doing my own stuff. It's fine. So I packed up my stuff and I went to go and get some hangover macas. And while I was eating my hangover macas, I was just thinking of the night that we had and how much fun we had and how much I was so attracted to him. And I was thinking, oh my God, I don't know if he wants to talk to me, but should I message him? So I messaged him asking him if he got home okay. And thankfully, he messaged me back. And those messages ended up being messaging back and forth for weeks, which ended up to messaging for months, which ended up to, hey, we need to talk. And when he said this, I was thinking, all good things come to an end. It's when the guy that we all know could get anyone that he wanted, is now disinterested in going to go pursue someone else. And so I approached the meeting up with him, really nervous, and I was thinking, maybe there's a way that I can, still win him back. Maybe I can make him feel guilty for having this conversation with me. So I brought his favorite popsicle, and anyway, brought his favorite popsicle. I was very nonchalant, but I was like, here, it was a really hot day. Here's your favorite popsicle, what's up? And he's like, well, I just wanted to talk to you about asking if you wanted to. And before he could finish his sentence, I realized what he was doing, and he was gonna ask me to be his girlfriend. And before he could even say the word girlfriend, I gave him a massive hug and I said, yes, and I just cut him the fuck off. So actually, I don't know if he ever truly asked me to be his girlfriend, but I don't know. We're just gonna make the assumption that he did. And from there we were dating and everything was young, love, right? It's kind of toxic because you don't know how to love one another. It's just a foreign thing. But we get through a whole year of dating, and at the age of 18, my mom was in and out of the doctors. And she was always having stomach pains, and people were saying that it was menopause or she had diverticulitis or whatever other things. But she knew in her heart that all of those things were wrong. And so she kept going back and forth to the doctors for a year, 2 years or so, until finally we got called in for a family meeting at the hospital. And if you guys know, family meetings with doctors is never a good sign. At 18, I was 18, we went to the hospital and we all sat patiently waiting for the doctors. My mom was in the hospital bed getting her bloods done and all of that stuff, and then finally the doctor comes in and it's like, hey guys, tells us all. And my mom, for the very first time with all of us in the room, was told that she had stage 4 ovarian cancer. And it was a whirlwind of emotions. I didn't know what to think at the time. I was so young. I was disappointed in myself for dropping out of high school and also dropping out of 2 uni courses at that point, trying for my 3rd and working full-time retail, thinking that there wasn't much of a future in it. And then at the same time focusing on my mom, who I just found out is extremely ill. We all didn't know what to think, but it meant that treatment had to start and we had to navigate this as a family. And that's the end of part 1 of why did I get married at 20. This is part 2 of why the I get married at 20. So we just found out that my mom had stage 4 ovarian cancer and I was 18 at the time. And they laid out all of the plans of her treatment. So she was gonna go have surgery, she was gonna go through radiation, and she was gonna go through chemotherapy. And all of that treatment and the healing process in between and all of that took a really long time. So by the time that she finished all of her treatments, I was 19 at the time. And when we all got the all clear from the doctor saying that it's gone, the treatments are all done, we celebrated. Obviously, it was such a weight off our shoulders. It was a huge and long journey for not only us as a family, but especially my mom at the time. And we were just stoked to get on with the rest of our lives. But it was weird because my mom kept referring to herself as if she was not going to be in our future. She would say things like, when I'm gone or when I leave. And we were really confused because we were thinking, hey, you just went through all of this, don't think so negatively. We were in so much denial with the language and the narrative that she was painting out. Because obviously the doctors were saying that she was fine. But you are the only person who knows your body best. My mom was the only person who knew her body best. And a year afterwards, when I was 20, we were called in again for another family meeting.
Wow.
And you guys know what that means.
It's back.
So we went to the hospital again and sat in a room, waited patiently, and we already kind of knew something dire was gonna come. And just as my mom had predicted, the cancer was back. And they decided to set out a new plan of attack for her treatment. And so that was gonna look like radiation and then chemotherapy. After the first round of her treatment for the first time, she was really nervous to lose all of her hair and she really didn't like how she looked without it. She was expressing to me one day how much she was so gutted that she was gonna lose all of the hair that she had finally grown out from her last chemo treatment. And I told her, hey, you know what? I'll go bald with you so you're not alone. Like, you don't have to feel ugly. It's not ugly and we'll be doing it together. And she was stoked. She was so happy. She was like, really, you do that for me? And I was excited too, like, to just be alongside my mom's journey in this time where I literally could do nothing. And so if there was one thing that I could do, it could at least make her feel like she wasn't alone by chopping my hair off with her. So she went through radiation, all good and whatever, and then it was time to queue her up for chemotherapy. But before chemotherapy started, we got called in for another family meeting.
Wow.
And it felt like deja vu at that point, sitting at the doctor's room, having a pit in our stomach, knowing that bad news was about to come, and we knew something bad was coming. And finally the doctors came in and they explained that my mom was too weak to proceed with going with chemotherapy and that her body would not make it through it, which meant that they could no longer do treatment, which meant that she was going to move into hospice, palliative care, or end of life care essentially. So the doctors essentially told us that she is going to die. You don't even know what to think at that point of time when you realize this person that you love so much has a due date. And our minds are racing, we're bawling our eyes out, we don't know how to feel, but as my family does best in tragic situations, we try to make light of everything. And my mom, out of all of the people in the room, decides to make a joke. She looks at my boyfriend at the time and it looks him straight dead in the eyes and goes, oh, it's so nice that I'm going to be able to see my first daughter get married before I go. Am I going to see my second daughter get married before I go? No one in the room took it seriously. We were all laughing our asses off because I was 20 years old. I had just started dating this man, 2 years ago or something. Obviously, this is just a funny joke that she's playing, but I could see in my boyfriend's eyes at the time that he took it slightly seriously, and I looked at him and was like, bro, just relax, it's just a funny joke. He should not take it seriously. My mom was like, ha ha ha, yeah, it is a little funny joke. And that is the second part of why the I get married at 20. This is part 3 of why I get married at 20. So my mom has just found out that she is dying, and she has just finished looking my 20-year-old boyfriend in the eye that I've only been dating for 2 years. Are you gonna marry my daughter before I leave? As some sick joke, and all of us are laughing our heads off thinking that it's funny, and you can tell in his little brain that he's kind of taking it seriously, and we have to make sure to tell him, like, relax, it's okay, like, you don't have to do anything with that. That was a funny joke. It was really funny to see you uncomfortable. So after that whole ordeal, we got some food, we ate, and we just chatted and tried to make ourselves feel better with the bad news that we had just been given. My boyfriend went home that night and told his family about the news with my mom, and also told them about the offhand comment that my mom made to him. And little did I know that he was seriously considering and thinking about the comment that my mom had made. And so he had told his family, and his family were also thinking about the comment that my mom made. And they had all decided that actually, even in the future down the line, because our families do really like each other and we get along really well and everything, that if we were to get married down the line and it wasn't with her, that it wouldn't be right. So his family spent the rest of that night discussing, figuring out if it actually was a good idea for the two of us at 20 years old to go get married before my mom passes away. I, on the other side, am thinking about anything but that comment, because I literally just found out that I was gonna die. I just have all of these feelings of like regret and emotion. Should I have done this better? Should I have done this with my mom? And I can't believe that my time is now limited. So I'm not thinking that much, and a week goes by. Backtrack to the day that my boyfriend asked me out, which he didn't really ask me out. That was the 21st of February 2018. And every 21st of the month, when you're young and you're in love, we were celebrating our love every month. So 21 became a really important number for us. And even through the whole 2 years of us dating, every single 21st of every month, my boyfriend at the time would have always celebrated things for us. So whether it was like a small card or flowers or chocolates or a date or spending a whole day together or whatever it was, he made sure that the 21st of every single month that we did something to celebrate our love. So we're in October 2020, coming up to the 21st of October, and he says, hey, like, I want to take you out on a nice date. I know that things haven't been very well, so let's just, have some time to ourselves and celebrate the 21st like we always do. And I was reluctant to go on a date. I kind of felt guilty. To be away from my family during this time. I didn't know if I truly wanted to be on this date, or if there was a way that we could just have this date closer to home, or even just spend time in the hospital with my mom. He convinces me that it's not going to be long and that we'll just have a good time and it will help with the entire situation of things. So in 2020, on the 21st of October, I go into this date and I'm not feeling very well. I'm obviously still overwhelmed with my own emotions and I don't know how to feel, but he's doing all that he can to make me feel good during this date. So he takes me out on this date to these gardens that I haven't been to ever since I was a kid, and they're the same gardens that my parents took their wedding photos in back in the day. And we're going along and we're looking at all of the flowers, and like the sun is out and it's a very nice day, and we end up turning the corner and they can see a line of lanterns going towards like this certain path. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. The gardens have really upgraded since the last time I came here. And you're like, oh, like, why don't we go down that path? So we go, and then we go around the corner, we go down that path, and then I look into the distance and I see there's like a pergola filled with fairy lights and photos of us hanging down it. And at this point, I'm just bawling my eyes out, and all I could think of is, oh my gosh, this guy's gone above and beyond because I've had such a tough time, and how lucky am I to have the sweetest boyfriend in the world right now. As I walked closer and closer to the pergola, I couldn't see that there was this little sign, but as I approached closer, I read that the sign said, "Will you be my forever amen?" which was a joke that we had made because my auntie back in the day said, you guys are going to be together forever, amen. And so we made it a joke that we were each other's forever, amen. Anyway, I was like, what? Wait. And as we got even closer to the pergola, I realized that there was a circle of flowers by the sign. And I looked at him and I was like, are you fucking serious? As tears are streaming down my face, right? I'm so confused. There's so many emotions happening in my body right now. And he's like, so he grabs my hand. We walk into the circle of the flowers and everything with the lights and everything around me. I don't even know what to feel. And he gets down on one knee. And I am shook. I can't even hear a single word that he's saying as he is kneeling right in front of me. I don't even know how to feel what is happening. And by the end of it, he just stops talking and I don't realize that he's stopped. And we're just staring at each other. And I realize what's happening. This guy is literally proposing to me.
Wow.
And he's like, is this a yes? And I can't even mutter a single word. All I can do is nod my head and quiver the word yes, and then give him a big hug. And I'm just full of all of these emotions because one, yes, I did really want to marry this guy, but two, I was really confused that this was all happening, and three, there was just so much emotion backed up from everything that had happened beforehand. And as soon as I said yes and gave him a hug, all of his family came out from the gardens and the hedges and they were like, yay, she said yes, woo, 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 woo. And I'm thinking, how did this even happen? He proposed to me a week after my mom found out she was gonna pass away. How did he even find the time to get a ring and all of this stuff and blah, 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 and all celebrating, we're all happy, and I call my mom and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, I'm so glad that you know that I'm gonna be marrying the guy that has your blessing. Did you get your blessing? And they explained to me that during the week prior, my boyfriend had came back to the hospital to ask for their blessing because of the comment that she made. He looked at my dad and was like, can I take your daughter's hand in marriage? And my dad looked at my mom and said, what do you think? And everything my mom was thinking was in her face. She had a smile that was grinning from ear to ear, and she was just like, yes, 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 you have my blessing. I was really glad that he got my parents' blessing and that everyone was okay with this. I was obviously processing a lot of emotions, and I said out loud, oh, I'm just glad that my mom will know that I married the guy that got her blessing. And he's like, no, she's not gonna just know that you're gonna get married to me. She's gonna be there for the wedding. And I was so confused. I was like, what do you mean she's gonna be there for the wedding? And he goes, we're getting married next month.
Uh, I don't even know what to think. So far, let me know what you think about the story down in the comment section because this is actually a blind reaction. So there's going to be a part two. We're going to continue because it's already long. It's already 21 minutes here. The entire story. So we're going to do a part two and see what. But there are just some things that's in my head because I can see a ring on her hand. Is it that she's still married to this man? Oh, did I miss something at the beginning? Did she say that was her ex-husband now? But for me, getting married at 20 and getting married because to honor your mom's dying wish, is that really a right place or right reason to get married? Please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about this story time down in the comment section. But as always, please keep it respectful. Here on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free and share your thoughts, okay? For me, I'm just like at 20, I can't even imagine what I'll be doing at 20. Like for real. I personally, some of you guys don't know, the people that are new here, you don't know. I dated my husband for 10 years before I got married. I'm not one of those people. I don't believe in getting married young because I feel like I understand both of them are young, same age, and all that. But I personally, I don't believe in getting married young because you don't even know who you are, what you really want, who you are and your core values. And most times, especially as a young girl, there's a lot of fantasy about having a man and all that. And a lot of women, someone like my mom got married pretty young, and this is something that happened in my society a lot, where women get married pretty young. And what I've seen with that is that most of these women, they grow up having children, and know they're having a full-blown family, and know that they all grow up without actually having an identity for themselves. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Some people love that type of life, but I personally, I feel like for a person to be in this life and don't have any other identity than to be a mother and a wife, a lot of the time I see most of these women, they, that's all they are. Like they're nothing more than that. And for me, that's not what I want for myself or wish for myself, and that's not something I'll wish for any 20 years old something person around me. I'll like, you know what, enjoy life, know who you are. What, but yeah, I'm super excited to hear what the story, how the story led, if they stayed married, if that's the person she's still married to. I'm kind of curious to know that. But yeah, let me know what you think about this story so far. But please, as always, keep it respectful. Go on and share this story time with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because hey, that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share your thought. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that'll be you supporting this channel and this girl. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.